So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time in around 20 minutes. The purpose of this lecture series is very simple. You all know that current affairs form a very important portion of your civil services examination. And to cover current affairs, you need to cover them on a daily basis. But you can't spend your entire day reading the newspaper. Therefore, to facilitate you guys, I have come out with this lecture series in which we'll cover the entire day's current affairs. Important current affairs, mind you, in about 20 to 25 minutes. But just watching this lecture would be job half done. What you need to do more is revise this lecture as well. Because it is through revision only that you'll be able to keep these current affairs in your memory for longer periods of time. So, revision is very important. Now, you can revise these current affairs from the notes that we are going to provide to you. These notes would be available in PDF file and would be made available on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. Okay, all you have to do is just click on that link. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the notes for this lecture. Then you have to spend 20 to 25 minutes revising this lecture also. So 20 to 25 minutes of watching this lecture, 20 to 25 minutes of revising this lecture, and in about 40 to 50 minutes, you'll be done for the day as far as current affairs are concerned. You'll be done for the day. Now spend your day as you wish. Cover other parts of your UPSC syllabus, practice other questions or MCQs, spend as you wish. But as far as current affairs are concerned, you'll be done for the day. Therefore, this lecture series is very important for you guys. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it a daily habit of yours. All right, let's begin this lecture. First, let's take a look at the topics we shall cover in this particular lecture. What important news items featured in today's newspaper? So we are going to be focusing on these 4 news items. Okay, we'll focus on these 4 news items because only these 4 items are important from the perspective of your exam. Number 1 is two-child rule for local body polls. Recently, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister announced that he is going to scrap the two-child rule for contesting panchayat polls. It was made mandatory that if you have more than 2 children, then you cannot contest panchayat polls. Okay, so we'll talk about this two-child rule. We'll talk about its aim, controlling population increase. We'll talk about everything. Okay. Then recently, the second CARICOM-India Summit. CARICOM means Caribbean Community. So it is a group of countries in the Caribbean region. So CARICOM-India Summit was going on in Guyana. As you know, Prime Minister Modi was in Guyana. So he attended this summit and he gave 7 pillars on which the relationship between India and CARICOM community would improve or would be built upon. Okay, so we'll talk about this summit. It is very important from the perspective of international relations. Then another IR related news is International Criminal Court. Please do not mistake it for International Cricket Council. Okay, ICC, International Criminal Court, issued an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So what is this all about? We'll talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, which was released in the recent G20 summit happening in Rio, Brazil. So what is this alliance all about? We'll talk about these things. Okay. So first topic is related to GS2, polity. Then next is again GS2, but the IR portion. Third is also GS2 IR portion, and fourth is also GS2 IR portion and government policy also. So these are the 4 topics that we are going to zero in our attention on. Let's start the discussion with topic number 1, which is two-child rule for local body polls. Now, what was in the news? Okay, look, since the time Andhra Pradesh's Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu came to power as CM, before him it was Jagan Mohan Reddy, but since the time this Andhra Pradesh CM came to power, Chandrababu Naidu came to power, he has expressed his concern about the aging population of the state. Okay, it is a big problem because if population rapidly ages, then there are not enough people in the working age population, in the working age people, a group of people. Okay, and if there is a decline in the working age population, then that means Andhra Pradesh has fewer people to contribute to the economy. and more people, more senior citizens who would depend on the state's funds, pensions, and all, right? So it is a problematic situation for Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh needs to boost its working age population. And for that, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister announced that he is going to take steps to provide incentives to families to have more children. Andhra Pradesh needs to have more children because it has already reduced its population. Now, in his aim of providing incentives to households to have more children, he has taken one step, and that one step is 3 decades back, Andhra Pradesh released an act, which was Andhra Pradesh Panchayat Raj and Andhra Pradesh Municipal Acts. Okay, now these acts actually barred people from contesting panchayat polls or municipal corporation polls if they have more than two children. Again, this was aimed to make people have fewer children so that they can contribute to the national population reduction measures. Okay, so this 30-year-old law, these laws were aimed to disincentivize people to have more than two children. But now, Chandrababu Naidu feels that people should have more children. That is why he has scrapped this law. Okay, this policy basically. Now, let's talk about this policy. Why was this policy enacted? And it was enacted not just in Andhra Pradesh, it was enacted in more than 10 states of India. Okay, now this policy actually came when it was found that between 1981 to 1991 censuses, population rapidly rose. And it was found that the population control measures that were implemented in the 1980s had no effect at all. Okay, it was found in 1991 census data that the population control measures are not yielding results. Therefore, National Development Council set up a committee under the chairmanship of then Kerala Minister Karunakaran, and he advised that people with more than two children should not be allowed to hold government posts, panchayat level elections, and parliament elections as well. So he said that if you really want to control population, just announce that people with more than two children won't be allowed to sit for government exams, won't be allowed to hold government posts, won't be allowed to contest panchayat level elections, won't be allowed to contest parliament elections as well. Now, this recommendation was implemented partially and by some states only. First of all, people did not agree with the government post part. They did not agree with the parliament part also. But some states agreed with panchayat level elections and they implemented that. Okay. Now, Rajasthan was the first state to adopt two-child policy for level elections in 1992. It was then followed by Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh back then was undivided. Telangana was not separated, carved out back then. And in 1994, Haryana also followed suit. Odisha also introduced that policy. Chhattisgarh, Himachal, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Bihar, Assam all followed suit. Okay. In 2019, Uttarakhand implemented as late as 2019. Uttarakhand implemented that. UTs of Dadra Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu also implemented this policy. So many states implemented. 13 states and UTs implemented this policy. But many states who had implemented this policy back then have now rolled back this policy. Okay. Of the 13 states and UTs that adopted this policy, Chhattisgarh has taken back this policy, Haryana has rolled back this policy, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and now Andhra Pradesh is announcing to roll back this policy. Now, why have they rolled back this policy? Okay. First of all, these states found that because they have put a limit on the number of children that people can have, people's preference for boys over girls has shown results. Okay, because people can have people are allowed to have fewer children, they are actually determining the sex of their children before their birth and aborting girl child. So it has impacted sex ratio at birth. Okay, fewer number of girls were born because people were somehow able to bypass the rules and find the sex of their children. Okay, if they are boys, they're allowed to live. If they're girls, they used to abort them. So sex ratio at birth declined. Okay, then national policy for population in 2000 came out. And this policy actually advised that we shouldn't follow a target oriented approach. We should not focus on the number of children. We should focus more on reproductive health of females. Okay. So, because the national policy discarded the target driven approach, states also followed suit. And third, very important, is that population started declining. Okay. Andhra Pradesh is doing that because of the reason population started aging. Third was the reason aging and declining population, because fertility rates declined, total fertility rates. And the fourth reason, there is another fourth reason, legal challenge to this policy. Many people who couldn't fight panchayat polls filed petitions in court that how can the government do this? This is our fundamental right. Yet they are encroaching upon our fundamental right to life. So these were the four reasons as to why these states rolled this policy back. Okay, and now Andhra Pradesh is following suit. All right. So this was the entire issue regarding two-child policy that some Indian states followed. Now let's shift our focus to second news item, which is CARICOM-India Summit. Okay, so PM Modi is already in Guyana. We all knew about it. We all know about it basically because we covered it in the yesterday's lecture. Okay, but he's also in Guyana not just for bilateral summit between India and Guyana. He was also in Guyana for CARICOM-India Summit. Okay, this was the second CARICOM-India Summit, and it was being held in Georgetown, Guyana. Now, in this summit, Prime Minister actually proposed 7 key pillars on which the future relationship between CARICOM and India would be built. Now, what were these 7 key pillars? We'll talk about them. But first, let's talk about CARICOM. So, what is CARICOM? So, CARICOM is basically short for Caribbean Community. Okay, it is a group of countries in the Caribbean region. Okay, Caribbean island countries, some countries of the Caribbean region, they have formed a group called CARICOM, much like the ASEAN. Okay, so Southeast Asian countries have formed ASEAN, Caribbean countries have formed CARICOM. All right, as you can see over here, the countries with blue have full membership of CARICOM, the countries with green have associate membership, and some countries have been given a observer status. Okay, so as you can see, Suriname, Guyana, Grenada, Jamaica, all these are CARICOM countries. So CARICOM is a group of 21 countries including 15 member states, 6 associate members in Caribbean region. It was formed in 1973 by Treaty of Chaguarmas. Okay, this treaty was revised in 2002 to enable more economic integration. Basically, they wanted to create a European Union style economic integration, single market, and all that. Now, the 4 pillars of CARICOM are economic integration, foreign policy coordination, human and social development, and security. Okay, now let's come back to the 7 pillars that Prime Minister Modi proposed. Actually, Prime Minister Modi proposed 7 pillars, and those 7 pillars neatly form the full form of CARICOM also. That was very intelligent wordplay, basically, but that's how the current government functions. So the 7 pillars they neatly fit into the full form of CARICOM. As you can see over here, C stands for capacity building, A, agriculture and food security, R, renewable energy, I, innovation technology, C, cricket and culture. Because most of these Caribbean countries or people from these Caribbean countries participate in the West Indies team, West Indies cricket team. Okay, West Indies is not a country basically. So West Indies is basically a cricket board that invites the people from Caribbean countries to actually participate in its team. So people from Guyana also participate. There are some cricketers from Guyana in West Indian team, Grenada, Jamaica, many are there. So West Indies is not a country, it's just a cricket board which represents all these countries, Caribbean countries. O stands for ocean economy and M stands for medicine and healthcare. So these 7 pillars neatly fit into the CARICOM's full form. All right, that's all you need to know about this summit. Now let's shift our focus to third topic of the day, which is a serious one. ICC, not International Cricket Council, I repeat again, International Criminal Court issues arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister of Israel Yoav Gallant. Okay. Plus, this arrest warrant has also been released for the leader of Hamas also. Okay. Now, the reason given for issuing this arrest warrant is that ICC accuses these two leaders of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity during Israel's military campaign in Gaza. Okay, they think that both of them have committed war crimes, therefore, they need to be prosecuted for that, and for that, they have released arrest warrants. Now, ICC has released arrest warrants. Now, how would these arrest warrants play out? Okay, would Benjamin Netanyahu and Mr. Gallant would they be arrested? How does this play out? So for that, you need to know what ICC is. Okay, International Criminal Court. So it is an intergovernmental organization and international tribunal. Now, its headquarters is in seat where the judgments are passed is in Hague, Netherlands. Now, it is the first and only permanent international court with jurisdiction to prosecute individuals for international crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and crimes of aggression. Now, it is the first and only international court which can prosecute individuals. Okay, there is International Court of Justice under UN, but it hears cases regarding dispute between countries. Okay, it cannot try or prosecute individuals. It hears disputes within countries. Okay, so countries are parties to the dispute in ICJ, whereas ICC, International Criminal Court, can even prosecute individuals for crimes. Okay, now this ICC was established in 2002, and it was established through a treaty which is known as Rome Statute. Now, this treaty was actually open for signature in 1998, and it came into force in 2002. To implement this treaty, ICC was formed. Okay, so ICC was established under Rome Statute. Now, the thing is, the big question is, how will this impact Benjamin Netanyahu? Will he be arrested? So, for that, you need to understand the functioning of ICC, the jurisdiction of ICC. So, this part I have cleared already. International Court of Justice hears dispute between states, whereas ICC handles individuals. Now, ICC can try cases or hear cases only, and this is important. First of all, it can hear cases only when the crime that was committed was in a country that is party to Rome Statute. So, if you're not a member of ICC and a crime is committed in your country, then that case won't go to ICC. Okay. The perpetrator's country of origin is a party to Rome Statute. So, the person who has committed the crime is from a country that is a member of ICC, then the case can be tried. ICC may only exercise its jurisdiction if the national court is unable or unwilling to do so. So, ICC will only prosecute cases if the local courts are unwilling. So, ICC took the case of Benjamin Netanyahu because Israeli courts were refusing to prosecute Benjamin Netanyahu. ICC only has jurisdiction over offences committed after the statute's entry of force. So, crimes committed before 2002 cannot be prosecuted. Now, the thing is that only 123 nations are parties to Rome Statute. And USA, China, Russia, India are not part of International Criminal Court. So, crimes committed in these countries, or if a criminal is from these countries, well, that criminal won't be prosecuted under ICC. But Israel is part of, as you can see over here, okay, Israel is part of the Rome statute, okay, and Benjamin Netanyahu is from there. So that is why the case went to ICC. Now, the thing is that ICC has issued arrest warrant. Now, from these 123 nations, countries can decide to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if Benjamin Netanyahu arrives in these countries. Okay. Other countries who are not part of ICC, well, they won't arrest Benjamin Netanyahu because they don't have the mandate. The mandate is only with these 123 nations, and then too, it is the choice of these nations to honor ICC's mandate or ICC's arrest warrant. So, as the situation looks right now, Benjamin Netanyahu seems safe. Okay, most of these countries won't honor ICC's arrest warrant, and Benjamin Netanyahu won't go to these 123 countries. In any way, this though has a lot of symbolic impact. Okay, Benjamin Netanyahu might feel safe, but it has a lot of symbolic impact. Okay, because Benjamin Netanyahu has been declared an international criminal. Okay, that's about it. Please remember the information I've provided to you about ICC. It is important, questions might be asked. All right, let's shift our focus to topic number 4, which is Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty. Now, this alliance was released at the G20 Leaders Summit, which happened in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It was called Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, or the short form, the Alliance. Now, as the name suggests, this alliance is to reduce hunger and poverty. The reason for this alliance was basically, you see, in 2015, 17 sustainable development goals were launched. These sustainable development goals had to be achieved by 2030. Okay. One of the goals was zero hunger, which had to be achieved by all countries in 2030. And the other goal was eliminating poverty, which also had to be achieved by countries by 2030. Now, countries were making significant progress in achieving these two goals. But then lockdown happened. But then COVID happened. And because of that, the progress made got eliminated in those 2 bad years. Okay. Therefore, the countries thought, especially the developing countries, thought that they have to come out with an out of the box idea to achieve these 17 goals, or at least these 2 goals, by 2030. And that is why G20 countries came out with this alliance. Okay. Now, already this alliance has been joined by 81 countries, including India, 26 international organizations, 9 financial institutions, bank, IMF, and sorts, 31 charity, philanthropic organizations, foundations, and NGOs. Now, it has just been launched, so we don't know its headquarters. Most probably, its headquarters would be in Brasilia, the capital of Brazil, or any other global south or developing country. It will also have an office in United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, which is headquartered in Rome. Now, what about the money? Okay, where will this organization get its money from? To operate this alliance, this organization needs 2 to 3 million annually. Okay, to run its operations. Now, this 2 to 3 million would come from member countries. They would donate. These 81 member countries: Food and Agricultural Organization, UNICEF, and World Bank. All right. And how will this alliance operate? Well, this will provide a platform for different countries, joining countries, to learn from each other's best practices. In fact, this alliance will create a policy basket. It will create an evidence based policy basket, a group of policies which have worked in developing countries. So, any country can come and see this policy basket and choose a policy to implement in its own country. Okay. So, this evidence based policy basket contains 50 policies that have been tried in different countries and have worked. Of these 50, there are 6 very important policies which are named Sprints 2030. 2030 is important over here. Why? Because Sustainable Development Goal has to be achieved by 2030. Okay. These 6 policies include 6 target areas like school meals, cash transfer, older family farming, all these things. Okay. So this is what this alliance will do. This part is not that important, but yeah, this information and this information is very important. All right. Okay. On that note, we come to an end of this lecture. We conclude this lecture. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. But still, remember, the job is half done. You have spent 20 to 25 minutes watching this lecture. Now is the time to revise this lecture. Please, I'm repeating that revision is very important if you really want to etch these current affairs in your memory for long periods of time. Okay? So please spend another 20 to 25 minutes revising this lecture and you'll be done for the day. Okay? As far as the notes are concerned, they are available on our Telegram channel, and the link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below. All right. On that note, off with the promise of seeing you next time with next day's current affairs. Thank you.